I'm gonna give you one of the best ways that you should train as a wrestler, and we're gonna start right now. What's up, everybody? It's Dane Miller from GarageStrength.com, and if this is your first time to the channel and you're interested in becoming an athletic freak, you want to be more explosive, you want to get stronger, you want to be able to run faster and apply a ton of force rapidly, make sure you like, you subscribe, and you ring that notification bell so we can help you become a champion. So oftentimes wrestlers tend to have issues in their stance. They'll favor one side over the other. They'll tend to be a little bit more structurally imbalanced. They're doing a lot of different movements, but they tend to favor one side over the other. And when we've worked with some of our world-class wrestlers like Nick Gwiazdowski, when we've developed our NCAA Americans like Peter Renda at NC State, when we've worked with multiple Pennsylvania state champions, what we've done is we've figured out that there's one key aspect behind working with wrestlers. That key is that we've got to be working with a unilateral position, and we're going to provide 3 different key exercises that are going to help you utilize that unilateral based training, because a lot of wrestlers tend to bilaterally train dominantly. They're always in a bilateral position, but in the sport of wrestling, it's extremely important to recognize that most of wrestling is done in a unilateral position. And these 3 exercises are going to help you engage and transfer that strength in the weight room over to the mat. So that first exercise that we like to utilize in a unilateral position is going to be a goblet lunge. So this is something that's going to stimulate a ton of fatigue in your trunk, in your upper back, in your abs. You're going to hold that goblet position with a dumbbell, and you have to be very upright. You've got to make sure that you're coordinating your abs with your hips, your abs with your upper back, your abs with your legs. And as you execute that walking lunge, I want you to think as a wrestler what it's going to be like when you're in your stance position, when you're changing direction and you're changing levels, and when you're trying to get your athlete, your opposition off balance. Now that's going to be very similar to what you're feeling when you're doing that goblet lunge. We like to do goblet lunges for 5 sets of 6 to 7 reps on each specific leg. And as a coach or as a wrestler, you've got to take note of which leg is a little bit more structurally weaker and try to actually improve that weakness to get it as strong as your strong side. And when we're doing the goblet lunges, like I said before, you've got to think about this front position here is going to be very similar to when you're engaged with that wrestler and you're trying to manipulate them through that collar tie and trying to set up that offensive attack. The second key exercise that we like to utilize regarding wrestling-based training in a unilateral perspective is utilizing dumbbells, okay? So this sounds absurd, right? But we've got to get fancy with it. We got to start to think about how can we use dumbbell benches in different manners? How can we use dumbbell rows in different manners? And oftentimes in wrestling, we'll see that we're pummeling with one hand forward and then the other hand comes forward. So why aren't wrestling strength coaches having their wrestlers do these unilateral movements when they're training? So we like to utilize dumbbell presses alternating. We like to use dumbbell rows alternating. We've like to utilize dumbbells tremendously when we're training our wrestlers to try and impact that unilateral position. It's going to train the trunk to fire a little bit more and to coordinate that upper body. I recommend doing alternating dumbbell rows or alternating dumbbell presses for 5 to 6 sets of 10 to 12 on each arm. Finally, one of my favorite exercises that we like to utilize to train a unilateral position with wrestling is going to be similar to that goblet lunge, but even more challenging, and that's going to be the front rack single leg squat. And what this position emulates is going to be we're in that front squat position, but in a split squat position, so that lead leg is forward. We can train then as wrestlers each side to be equally as strong. So we need to, as coaches, we need to, as wrestlers, recognize which side is our dominant side and to train our non-dominant side first. That's going to help our non-dominant side catch up to our dominant side. And now we're in that front rack position. That's going to be similar to when we're pummeling. That's going to be similar to when we're lifting our opponents. That's going to be similar to when we're taking that deep high crotch or a high single, whatever it might be, that knee pick, whatever you might be. Now you've got that load on your chest and you're in a split position, so you're going to be able to execute and drive forward as well as possible. It's going to help you finish your shots more effectively, and it's going to lead to more takedowns on the mat. I recommend doing 5 to 6 sets for 3 to 5 reps on each leg. So guys, try these exercises inside your own wrestling-based programming. If you need help with your wrestling programs, head over to garagestrength.com. You can pick up a 12-week in-season or a 12-week preseason training program to help you implement and learn how to properly train as a wrestler. If you want more videos, you can click on this card right here to help you with your wrestling-based training. Until next time, guys, peace.